today? 12th? No, 11th. 12th. 12th. One dead moment there. Okay. All right, are we set? We don't have Commissioner Hanks yet. Yeah, I guess. Or slamming. Huh?
It was at 1.
What?
You might have thought it was at 1.
Oh, I know. I know I did. Oh, God. Yeah. I'm not staying all day. It is 12:01. Today's Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. We're in the city chambers, and I call the Fire Road and District Governing Body special meeting to order. Those presents are those presents. Christmas is on my mind. Commissioner Luke, Vice Mayor Yates, myself, Mayor Carasone, Commissioner McDowell. Commissioner Hanks is coming. He's on the phone. City Manager Lear, City Attorney Slayton, City Clerk Atkins, Deputy City Clerk Pito, and Police Chief Vespia. Just a couple of reminders before we get down to business. First, please turn your cell phones on to vibrate or silence. And since we don't really have any public here, anyone wishing to put in a public speaking card knows the drill. So we'll go ahead and stand for the pledge. Thank you, folks. And Commissioner Hanks is here, just to make sure. I did say you were here, but. So we'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the Agenda Commission.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Yates, seconded by Commissioner Luke. Is there any conversation on that? Nope. Seeing none, let's vote. Commissioner McDowell.
Didn't like how I hit it.
And it is unanimous. Let's move on to number 2, which is public comment. We do not have any public comment cards for the Fire Road or Fire District. So we are moving on to public hearings, which is ordinance number 2017-48. And if the city clerk would read by title only, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ordinance number 2017-48, an ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida, amending the Fire Rescue District budget for fiscal year 2017-18 by providing for supplemental appropriations in the amounts identified in Exhibit A, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the second reading, which is a little different than our agenda on the Legistar. So our Legistar says 2017-42 for the second reading.
Mine says 48.
And then
Those two.
48 for the first reading on Legistar.
Mine says 48 for the second reading.
So is mine.
Are you at the meeting from last time?
Maybe it's not updated? I don't know. So what's 42?
Oh, no, that's not on mine.
It's not on mine either. Are you in the right date there?
It's on here.
Are you on the right date?
Yep. Oh, maybe not. Wait. Fire, there it is. Maybe it's not. There it is. That was weird. Okay.
All right, I move to approve ordinance number 2017-48, amending the fiscal year of 2017-18 Fire Rescue District budget.
So it has been moved to approve ordinance 2017-48 by Commissioner Luke, seconded by Commissioner Hanks. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote.
I had.
Oh, there you have somebody.
Say.
You have a discussion? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I expressed before my concern with compensation study, the draft that we received. As I said, I am fully in support of us fixing things. However, just because we haven't received the final report with the final positions, because staff was going to go in and check and double check, and because of that, I'm not comfortable doing the amendment at this time. And that's the only reason why I'm not supporting this. I really think we need to have that first, so that we can see all of those positions, ranges, what was changed, because this is the only opportunity we as a commission have to really have any say in our employees and how they're compensated, because it's only through the budget process. After we approve it, it's all in the hands of the city manager. So I just feel that we're missing that opportunity. As I said, there were some positions that were starting at $15,000 more than market. Some positions were actually lower than market, and I just feel like we didn't have the opportunity to sort and iron those things out. So that's the only reason why I'm not supporting the budget amendment at this time. There is no rush. We backdated it to October, so it's not like we have to do it right now. We could do it at the next meeting if we can get that final report.
Commissioner McDowell?
Well, Vice Mayor, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is a very huge concern with the additional information that's not forthcoming. I agree with you on that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Is there any other? I think that we've been waiting on this long enough. I think that we've all been given pretty darn accurate numbers. There are some things that are going to be questionable later on, but I think that we've all been given a somewhat good presentation on where we stand. I don't believe that this is anything that can wait. They've been waiting long enough, and with that, I am definitely going to support this action. So, Commissioner McDowell?
But isn't this part of the contract that we're opened up to have renegotiated? Isn't this information part of all of that process?
City Manager?
The only contract that's covered here is the ASME contract, and that's them accepting to be slotted into the pay plan.
This is Fire District, though.
This is Fire
I'm sorry. I was just thinking at the process as a whole. So no, this does not affect any union employees. This is only non-union.
Correct.
No union employees are
That is
covered
correct.
in this?
No, the negotiations will cover that. This is $34,000 for just the non-union employees.
Okay, thank you for that
Yeah.
clarification.
So, okay, one more time, and that's it. Commissioner Yates?
Yeah, and so there are positions within the draft that we had received back in October. That's what's in this particular fire rescue. And one of those, actually, a couple of those positions were at issue from looking at the draft report and where they were slotting people and what amounts the range was going to be. And that's why it's my concern, because we haven't received the finalized whatever they went back and settled on. I just want to clear
Okay.
that up.
With that, let's go ahead and vote. Again, the motion was to approve. That passes 4-1 with Commissioner Yates descending for reasons stated, I assume, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay. So with that, I believe there are no other public comments again. And any commission communications? Seeing none, administrative legal reports, no. Awesome, adjourned. We're on record time, record time.
We're ready.
Commissioner Hanks. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. It is 12:10 p.m. We are in the city chambers, and I call the Road and Drainage District Governing Body special meeting to order. All those present previously at the fire district meeting are still here. Again, reminder, take your phones off of the ringer, silent, vibrate, whatever you need to, and the public comment cards will be accepted. Moving right into the agenda.
Road and drainage, Mayor.
We are in road and drainage.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion moved by Commissioner McDowell, seconded by Vice Mayor Yates. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. And that is unanimous. There are no public comment cards, so we will move on to the public hearing, which is ordinance number 2017-47. We do need no motion is required, so if the clerk would read by title.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Ordinance number 2017-47, an ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida, amending the Road and Drainage District budget for fiscal year 2017-18 by providing for supplemental appropriations in the amounts identified in Exhibit A, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you. This is the second reading of the budget amendment. If am I on the right one? Mm-hmm. Yes. And, related to the pay plan, just like the last one was, this one, AFSCME has given us the letter that they will accept our pay plan as they have done in the past. So they are included in this, not their contract negotiation, but to be slotted into the pay plan as they have historically. So that part of it is included in this.
Are there any questions, Commission?
Move to approve ordinance number 2017-47, amending the fiscal year 2017-18 road and district budget.
Second.
So we have moved a motion to approve ordinance number 2017-47 by Commissioner Luke, a second by Commissioner McDowell. Is there any discussion on that? Commissioner Luke?
No.
Commissioner McDowell? Anyone else? Seeing none, let's vote. Oh, Commissioner Yates.
Yep. I'm sorry we have to do this again, but it's separate ordinances. So I just wanted to share, I am in full support of us doing something to fix the compensation classifications and so on. And my only issue with this is we're approving the budget amendment now. And once we do that, we will not have the ability to express any concerns with some of the things that were pointed out in the draft study. Some of the positions, they're slotting, some overpaid by the market, some under, and I just would like to see us have the final plan first, be able to address those things, and then do the budget amendment. So that's my reason for not supporting this at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Luke.
Question for our city manager. I know we made an appeal process for the work of the study. Have you, you were supposed to be going over it with HR and finance and that. Have you had very many appeals that you've had to deal with thus far?
The window for that just opened, so no, we have not at this point. But the window for the employees to appeal it is just starting, so they just received their letters this past week, so they're reviewing it. So, in answer to that, no, not yet, but I expect we will get some.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Or Commissioner Yates?
Yep. Just in follow-up with that, on the appeal process, I guess I was looking at it from the commission level. I just wanted to share this where I was coming from. Rather than employees go through appeal process, there were some things that really significantly stood out that we as a commission would have the ability to, with the city manager, double-check those placements like they were going to go back and do, and then for us to be able to resolve possibly those issues, which would avoid that appeal process individually with the employees. I mean, that's always going to be there, but I just felt we can address some of the big things. Thank you.
Okay. And let's just, city manager, nothing prevents us from going back and changing this for next year's budget or any other given time, change the positions and so on and so forth. this is what is put in place now, but it's not anything we can't address at a later date if we feel that there are some things that are inequitable and can be fixed.
Not quite sure exactly of your question. I mean, obviously in the budget, you guys approve it every year.
Right.
You guys approve the positions in the budget as far as how many employees the city has.
So let me put it to you this way. If there is something that we're uncomfortable with, we are more than welcome to bring that specific thing back at any given time, and we could address it then on an individual basis through your office, of course.
Through me, yes.
Yeah.
hmm
Okay. So I just want to make sure that this isn't, the final, if we find something that's absolutely inequitable through, say, the appeal process, you'll bring that back to us and say, we found something wrong here and I think we need to fix this. Am I correct?
Well, the appeal process will all be handled through my office.
Right.
And we'll make those decisions. During the budget next year, you guys are, look at all the positions every year anyway. But the appeals don't come back in front of you guys.
No.
They stay in my office.
Okay, maybe I am not wording this correctly. If you have an appeal process, you have a position, let's say one position that comes back to you that seems to be inequitable as to what the pay plan study is saying. Maybe it is incorrect in its characteristic of the job duties. That can come back to the commission by your office to be fixed for that time and in the future, correct?
Yes, we've done reclassifications that have come to you guys every year.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
So just because we go and do this today does not mean that in the future we may have to tweak some of it.
Correct. If we found
Thank
one that we thought was incorrect, we would bring it back to you all.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Thank you very much. With that, if there's no other comments, can we please go ahead and get the motion on the floor?
already been
Yeah.
We already have a
I'd
motion and
The
second.
vote
voting
for it.
screen.
Vote.
Yeah. Okay, and that is 4-1 with reasons stated as Commissioner Yates descending and for reasons stated. Right, okay. Moving on to resolution number 2017-R-40, which is the adoption of the local agency program agreement for Biscayne Drive. City Clerk?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Resolution number 2017-R-40, a resolution of the City of Northport, Florida, providing for the approval and execution of the local agency program agreement between the City of Northport and the Florida Department of Transportation regarding the extension of bicycle lanes on Biscayne Drive, incorporating the recitals, providing for the designation of the Northport Road and Drainage District to carry out the agreement, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an interlocal agreement, or local agency program agreement between us and the Florida Department of Transportation for an amount of about $1.3 million to install bike lanes and sidewalks along Biscayne. And if you have, we can answer all your questions to the Road and Drainage District if you have any.
Any questions? City Clerk, could you flip the switch for me, please? Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Commissioner McDowell.
I understand that this resolution is to say it's okay to work with FDOT. It's my understanding this $1.3 million is FDOT is paying that to the city?
They reimburse us.
Reimburse us, okay. So how did we arrive at 1.3, or is that something that FDOT arrived at?
I'll ask our Road and Drainage District Director to come on up.
For the record, Juliana Belia, Public Works Director. We work with FDOT on it. There is a whole set of criteria that we need to go by. We need to show them what type of, the area of construction, the limits, and that type of thing, and we work with them to arrive at the figure.
So this is basically extending the roadway into the right-of-way to put in the bike lanes, including the drainage that would have to be redone,
Yes, ma'am.
everything. This is $1.3 million?
Yes, ma'am, for everything.
Okay. The concern that I have, 1.3 just doesn't seem like enough. Is it on both sides of the road or just one side of the
Just
road?
the one side of the road.
The northbound or southbound?
That would be northbound. Matching up from where it currently ends, the bike lane, it'll continue northward.
Because there's a line in here that makes me a tad nervous, that the agency, that's us, agree to bear all expenses in excess. And when do we expect this project to start? Because if you look at project cost letter A, it says the agency agrees to bear all expenses in excess of the total cost of the project and any deficits involved.
So we got with them, our engineer, project engineer, Mr. Ben Newman, worked with their engineers, and they did engineers' construction cost estimates, and they need to stay within budget as close as they can.
Is this awarding the contract also?
It's a reimbursable grant, is what it is.
So we pay the money out first, and then we wait for FDOT to reimburse us?
Yes, ma'am.
So is FDOT hiring the contractors, or are we doing that?
No, we hire the contractor.
We do that.
Okay, and will that be accomplished at the same time as this document resolution?
No, this is the resolution approving the agreement with FDOT, then we'll hire the contractor.
Then we go through the process. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that one sentence makes me nervous. Because when are you expecting to start the project if this all goes through?
We are going to, but fiscal year 1920, 2019/2020 is when we're doing the construction. Because we have to bid it, we have to go through that whole process, design, everything. First, we have to have the agreement approved by the commission and DOT to where we can proceed before we get started.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? So, Ms. Belia, are you saying that it's going to take a year and a half before this is going to get off the ground? And how can we say that this is going to be the absolute numbers, which is what Commissioner McDowell's problem is?
We first have to go through the agreement process, which we're doing now. Then we will have to go through the procurement process. Everything has to be reviewed by DOT. So we're in fiscal year 17-18 right now, so fiscal year 19-20 is when we will have construction occur. No, design and construction will occur in 19-20. So 17-18 you'll have design and permitting, because you have to go through permitting, and then 19-20 will be the actual construction. So it will not just, it will be occurring throughout that 1 year.
Well, it's 3 years. We're in 17-18. We still
right.
have yet to see 18-19. And you're saying construction doesn't happen until 19-20. That's 3 years away. There's no
That's when
way.
the funding is appropriated to construct it.
Okay, so what happens if in 2 years from now, contractors come back and say, no, it's not 1.2, it's 3.2 now? We'll have to be on the hook for those other $2 million.
Exactly. Thank you, Mayor.
According to the agreement, yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am, that is correct.
So what happens if we choose not to do it at that time? We would have to give them their money back, or how,
No,
is
'cause
this
we don't
a
have the money.
reimbursement?
It's a reimbursement it's a reimbursement agreement, so we don't get any money until we spend the money.
Okay, so theoretically, we can reevaluate the situation at that time
Yes,
and
ma'am.
nix the whole grant idea in the first place.
We could do that, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification.
So does anyone have any other questions?
They answered mine earlier.
Excellent. Can we get a motion on the floor?
Move to approve resolution 2017-R40.
Second.
That has been moved by Commissioner Yanks. Commissioner Hanks to approve Resolution 2017-4R-40. My goodness. Seconded by Vice Mayor Yates. Is there any other comments on that? Yanks, any comment? No? Okay, seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. That is unanimous. Thank you. Folks, we're up to the consent agenda. Is there anything y'all need to pull?
I'd like to pull B, please.
B,
Be like Baker.
I don't have a B.
That would be
We don't have a B.
I'm sorry, it's C.
an AC.
Oh, it's C,
I-
which is really B.
It is B.
Yeah, there's a B.
And I'd also
that's
like,
Well, I have a B
Oh, wait,
on
wait.
my Legistar.
Is that the utilize Wright Myers Land Service?
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
what it is? Okay.
Oh, it says C here. Okay.
And then the other one is, so did anyone want to go ahead and make a motion for A?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to approve consent agenda item A by Commissioner Luke, seconded by Vice Mayor Yates. Any comment on that? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote.
Oops, excuse me, got ahead of myself.
And that is unanimous. As for item B, this is about Wright Myers Land Service, Inc. Commissioner McDowell, do you have any specific questions?
yeah, I'm trying to understand what this whole $174,780 is for. Been trying to make heads or tails out of it too long, so I've had emails back and forth, so I think a conversation's warranted at this point. And I'd also like to know who's been cutting Plantation and Panacea, and how much is Plantation and Panacea gonna cost?
So we have, the questions are who's cutting Plantation and Panacea, and how much do they cost?
Yes.
Okay,
And is that included in this 174,000?
okay.
For the record, Juliana Belia, Public Works Director. Would you like me to first go through the explanation of the 1,074,000? Or do you want to just go right into Plantation?
1,074,000 or 174,000?
Oh, you're talking about the 174,000.
Well, that's what
Okay, I
this
thought you were
is
talking
for.
about the whole money. Okay.
My understanding, all we're doing is approving 174,000. Okay.
The $174,780,000 is for the maintenance for the continuance of Reitmeyer to maintain both Sumter Boulevard and Toledo Blade Boulevard. That includes litter removal, and it is from now through March till we get the new, the big new landscaping and turf maintenance contract processed. Litter removal, mowing, line trimming, edging, blowing, weed control, rodent, pest, and disease control on landscape plantings and turf, herbicide applications including a pre-emergent herbicide, fertilizing turf, palms, trees, shrubs, and grasses, pruning of palms, trees, shrubs, and grasses, tree staking and straightening, structural shaping of young trees, shrubs, and ground cover plants, mulching, roadway / sidewalk clearance and visibility maintenance, emptying trash receptacles, and clearing catch basin grates of any and all obstructions. That takes care of the Reitmeyer contract and it just includes the two roadways.
So it has nothing to
Sumter.
do with Plantation and Panacea?
No, ma'am, it does not. They do not cut Plantation and Panacea. The Road and Drainage District thus far, my department, Public Works Department, has been doing, up until the commission meeting we just had, has been doing abatement mowing for the Neighborhood Development Services Department, and they reimburse us for those services. What their department does is they will send the owners of the two properties, which is the Woodland CDD, and they will also send Huntington National, which is basically Benderson manages it for them. They send them bills to pay for the abatement cuts. Now what we're going to have to do is, now that the commission has approved that at the last meeting, what we will do is continue, except now we will not do it as abatement cuts for Woodland CDD only. We will do it as our maintenance program. We will cut the, we will maintain, which includes all these items I mentioned, including the mowing, for Panacea Plantation, owned by Woodland CDD. That which is not owned, which is 1,000-something feet, we were able to, I worked with the owner, and they had the property surveyed, resurveyed to determine exactly what Huntington National owned, which was less. They are going to be required to adhere to city ordinance and maintain their grass and all that. If they do not do that, we will abate it again through Neighborhood Development Services, through property standards. And again, our department will cut it, and we will bill it to property standards, and they will bill the owner.
Thank you for that clarification. I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate it. I was under the impression that this included.
No, ma'am,
Thank you.
does not.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Belia, so this is really just because we had that one landscape group kind of go away,
Yes,
and then we
ma'am.
had to do a temporary contract, and this is kind of extending that temporary contract, essentially, right?
Yes, ma'am, we just needed a little extra
Just a
time
little more
to get the
time.
big contract
Okay.
going.
So, with that said, I only have one question. We have on here that we're doing US 41 medians as well as US 41 bus stops.
Yes.
And that's around, 70,000 right there alone. Why is FDOT not taking care of their own properties?
There are city green strips and green belts that the city Public Works Department maintains. It is not within the FDOT right-of-way area.
Okay, so
It's outside of that.
All right,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's kind of a misnomer. The US
Yes, ma'am.
41 medians is not the medians of US 41.
Correct.
They are landscape areas that the city actually owns property.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Because that's not what this says.
What? Yeah.
Unless they're reimbursed. I think they used to
Oh,
be
excuse me,
reimbursed.
excuse me, I need to thank you, Chuck. I need to clarify something. There are some of the center medians that once you add enhanced landscaping, they will not maintain. I apologize. So there is a little bit, there is some that our department does maintain. I apologize.
That's all right.
I've forgotten that.
I think those are
I've
the
forgotten
ones
that.
over between Ortez and Biscayne where we added the trees.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. In other
And-
words, anything in the center where we have landscaping, we
Right.
have to maintain that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hanks?
Quick question. Kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Noticed over between Walmart and Coco Plum, and I think this has been asked before, but for some reason it just slipped my mind. That grass is kind of out of control right through there in the, where the ditch is and all that stuff, just right next to the road. Whose responsibility is that?
Well, the property that's owned by the commercial landowner, for example, has to maintain up to the DOT right-of-way. But where you're talking, if it's between the edge of their property, which I think it is, beyond the power poles to the pavement, that would be FDOT.
So they're just not.
Correct.
And that's just too bad for us.
I can get a hold of them.
That's a phone call.
Yeah, yeah. If I have to make an educated guess, I'd say it's because of the construction, but I should still call them and do the right thing and let them know they need to cut it. It's out of hand.
Or we'd eat it.
Do something. Okay, is there any other questions, folks? Seeing none, let's go ahead and entertain a motion. This is for consent item B.
Move to approve.
Second.
So that has been moved to approve the Wright Myers Land Service, Inc.
Contract.
Yeah, it's not really a contract, though, but
Amendment.
amendment as listed in consent item B, moved by Commissioner Luke, seconded by Commissioner McDowell. Is there any other comments on that? No? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. And that passes unanimously. There is no other public comment for the Road and Drainage District. Commission communication, anyone? Administrative legal reports, seeing none. With that, we are adjourned. Next is solid waste.
ready.
Okay. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. It is 12:36 p.m. We're in the city chambers. I call the Solid Waste District Governing Body Special Meeting to order. Those present for the previous district meeting are still here. We also wish to make sure that you put your phones on vibrate, and if you have any public comment, please fill out a public speaker's card. With that, let's get on to business. We need the approval of the agenda, Commission.
So moved?
Second.
That's been moved by Commissioner McDowell, seconded by Commissioner Luke. Any comments on that? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. And that is unanimous. There are no public comment cards, so we move on to the consent agenda, which is just moving the approval of the minutes. Anyone?
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second?
Moved by Commissioner Luke to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Commissioner McDowell. Commissioner Yates, you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but there was just one error that was brought up to the clerk, so about the timing. So I just want to make sure that
It's been corrected.
Moving it as amended. Okay.
It's already been corrected before this meeting, so,
It was corrected before
Right,
the meeting, but the
so-
ones that were in the backup showed the error.
okay, but we're fine then. Okay. So that has been moved by Commissioner Luke, seconded by Commissioner McDowell, and let's go ahead and vote. And that is unanimous. Last is the ordinance number 2017-49, which is a second reading. We go ahead and have that read by title only.
Ordinance number 2017-49, an ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida, amending the solid waste district budget for fiscal year 2017-18 by providing for supplemental appropriations in the amounts identified in Exhibit A, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Yates, you have a question?
No.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Move.
to approve ordinance number 2017-49.
Second.
That has been moved to approve ordinance number 2017-49 by Commissioner Hanks, seconded by Commissioner Luke. Is there any conversation about that, Commissioner Hanks? Commissioner Luke? Commissioner Yates?
Yeah, Commission, I fully support doing the compensation study and making those adjustments. However, I'm not in support of the budget amendment at this time, primarily because we haven't received the final report. There was a lot of concerns with the draft report we received, and I really feel that we need to take a look at the final report, seeing how the ranges were finalized and classifications. That way we could address some of the issues that had stood out. Some of them were over market, some of them under market, and that's very concerning. And at this process or stage of the process, it's easier for us to be able to address that now versus individuals going through appeal. And as far as ranges go, I'm not aware, at least from what's communicated to me from the city manager, once this is done and funded, that's what it is. So if there's some other reclassification of titles, that's something staff will always bring to us. So that's my understanding of that process, and that's why I'd rather do it now before the budget is amended. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments, rather? Okay. And as we've said in all the previous ones, this is not written in stone and can come back, and I personally believe the appeal process will do what it's supposed to do, and it's been a long time coming. So let's, Commissioner Luke.
Didn't I see an email where that retro pay will be on the check before Christmas?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so seeing no other comments, let's go ahead and call the question. This again was to approve by Commissioner Luke, seconded by Hanks. Or maybe vice versa. Vice versa. All right, and that is passed 4-1 with Commissioner Yates descending for reasons stated, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, and with that, there are no other public comment cards. We do not have any commission communication on this. No administrative or legal reports. With that, we are adjourned, folks, and we will be back at 1 for our regular meeting. Thank you.